didn't know how good I had it. As someone from the diaspora, I do think that Nairobi is the best city to move to. I did not realize that Kenya has some of the most high quality beauty services on the continent. What's up, family? My name is Rochelle. Welcome to For the Culture. If this is your first time here, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today's video is going to be about all the things that I miss about Kenya, okay? So for those that don't know, I moved to Kenya last September, and I've been living in Kenya ever since. But currently, I'm on a travel tour, continuing to travel in Africa and learn more about all these beautiful different African countries. However, I do genuinely miss being home. I miss Kenya, and there were some things that I took for granted. So today is going to be me talking about all the things that I didn't quite appreciate enough. Now that I've been to different African countries, I've been to 16 different African countries, I do think Kenya is the best place for me, and that's why I chose it to be my long-term home. And unfortunately, I've had some less than favorable experiences in some other countries, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But yes, I miss Kenya so much, and I did take some things for granted, and I'm going to be listing all the things that I did take for granted because I didn't know how good I had it. Mind you, I still live there, okay, but I'm going to be traveling for a couple more months, and I'm so homesick, and I can't wait to go back home. So let's get into it. The first thing that I'm going to be getting into, and the thing that stood out to me the most, is the high quality beauty services that Nairobi specifically offers, which is where I'm based. I did not realize that Kenya has some of the most high quality beauty services on the continent until I started traveling around and getting beauty services in other countries. I got my hair braided in Kenya before I left a couple months ago, but when I was in Botswana, after traveling for a few weeks, it was time to get my hair done again. And what I will say is I'm traumatized. The experience that I had in Gaborone, which is the capital, the big city of Botswana, was traumatizing. I did not realize how good I had it in Kenya until I had this traumatizing experience where, first of all, I booked an appointment at a natural hair care salon, and they canceled on me in the morning, claiming that they didn't have electricity, which I know that's not their fault, but still. They literally called me my appointment was at 8:30, and they called me at 8:30 to cancel my appointment when I was already in the taxi on the way to their shop. And so I had to scramble and find somewhere else to get my hair done before I had to travel to the next city. And someone recommended this braiding shop to me. And so I was like, okay, this is a recommendation. I'm new to the city. Let me just go check it out. Child, yeah, that was a horrible experience. And you guys know I tell the truth. I give credit where it's due, but I'm also honest about my experiences. And it was horrible. It was horrific. They were so careless with my hair. They told me that I had too much hair, that my hair was too curly, and they were just so careless, and I don't know what it was. Also, the customer service in Botswana was just strange when it came to salons and beauty services. There was even one salon I walked into to get my eyebrows done, and nobody smiled at me. Nobody greeted me. They barely act like they wanted to look me in the eye, but they were laughing and joking with each other, but being rude to the customer. That's never happened to me in Kenya. Even when I was getting my hair done, I'm going to be making a full video about it, but just to give you guys a sneak peek, even when I was getting my hair done, just like they just act like they didn't want to be there. I was inconveniencing them. Like, what's going on? You know, I had multiple rude experiences or just very poor customer service. There was even a time where I tried to get my lashes done, and I was explaining to her over WhatsApp, like, I had a bad experience in the past, getting my lashes damaged. You know, can you just please be careful? And she laughed at me. She literally, because I told her, I was like, you know, in the past, I did get some of my lashes pulled out by somebody. And she's like, LOL, pulled out? Like, what do you, she laughed at me. And I'm just like, what in the world is going on in Botswana? I don't know. it was multiple times. If it was just one time, I would be like, okay, maybe they were just a weirdo. But it was multiple times. I was just trying to get my nails done, lashes done, hair done. And some people were kind, but multiple people were rude to me. And it made me appreciate Kenya so much more because I've never had a rude experience getting my nails done. I have a nail tech, like, those are best nails I've ever had in my life. My nail tech, I only book with one nail tech in Nairobi because they get me right every time. I have one hair salon that I go to in Nairobi because they do a superb job. Like, the hair and beauty services are so high quality in Nairobi, and I took it for granted because I didn't realize how bad it was in some other countries on the continent. And I hope that there are some great people in Botswana that can do a great job, but unfortunately, I didn't encounter that. That wasn't my experience. So, yes, I genuinely miss the beauty services, the beauty scene in Nairobi, in Kenya, because there's nothing else like it on the continent from my personal experience. Now, another thing that I took for granted because I didn't realize how good I had it was the infrastructure and the quality of internet. Yes, I will say that in Nairobi, it's a tech hub, so I think that contributes to the high quality of internet. There would be some power outages sometimes. I would say maybe once a week I would go without power for maybe 2 or 3 hours, but it wasn't nearly as bad as I experienced in some other countries. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to drag Botswana, but I'm just telling the truth. In Botswana, even when I was getting my hair braided, they had a power outage. Like, the last 3 or 4 hours they were braiding my hair, we were in the dark and they had to use flashlights. And every day there was a power outage, load shedding, there was a power outage for like 5, 6, 7 hours. And even when there was power throughout Botswana, the internet wouldn't be working. There was one day I had to leave my hotel and go to a restaurant just so I could work because just the internet wouldn't even be working even when they did have electricity. So these are the struggles that I've been dealing with while traveling that make me so much more grateful to be living in Nairobi and to have Nairobi as a home base. And this is one of the reasons why I can't wait to go back home, because I have been catching some dust. Like, I have been like kind of struggling, on this Africa tour, trying to find reliable internet, trying to find reliable electricity in some countries, just so I can just do my job, edit content, and just be a little bit comfortable. I understand that not everything is going to go perfectly while you're traveling, but I would like to be comfortable. And I've had some very uncomfortable experiences since I left Nairobi. And I just miss you guys so much. Like, oh, child. All right, so number 3 would have to be the strong transportation systems, and also food delivery is a part of that. I knew that some countries, because I've been traveling for over 10 years, I've been to over 35 countries, like I said, 16 African countries. I knew that different countries sometimes have different apps when it comes to taxi services or even food delivery, but in Nairobi, they have Uber, they have Bolt, they have InDrive, they have Uber Eats, they have Glovo. There's so many different apps when it comes to food delivery and rideshare. There's probably over nearly 10 apps total, right? So when I was living in Nairobi, I had the world in the palm of my hands. I I was living in luxury, but once I started traveling, like, in Uganda, they had Uber Eats, I believe, and they also had Uber, I believe. I think maybe Bolt. I don't think they had Uber, but I think they had Bolt. But in Rwanda, they do not use Uber. They do not use Bolt. They use an app called Yego, and it has 1 star in the App Store because it barely works. And it's a struggle. You know, it was just a struggle. In Rwanda, they didn't have Uber, they didn't have Bolt, they didn't have Uber Eats. So it's like I had to ask around and find out which app to use just to be able to order food if I was tired and I didn't want to leave the house, or I just wanted a little snack. You know, I just had to find out. And you know, these apps, they were just small apps that didn't work the best because for one reason or another, they didn't like to use Uber. And then I went to Botswana. Botswana, they don't use Uber. They don't have Uber. They don't have Bolt. Sometimes you would be able to use InDrive. Like in Gaborone, I was able to use InDrive because it's the big city in Botswana. But once I started traveling to smaller cities like Maun or Kasane, they don't use InDrive really at all. You have to go out into the main road. Sometimes you have to walk along the dirt road and find a paved road or a main road and flag down a taxi. And that's not always good because, for example, for me, it was raining most of the time I was there. And there was even one time there was a thunderstorm. It was thunder and lightning and raining. And I was standing in the middle of the street. Oh, yeah, I'm soaking wet. But I called my hostel like, how do I find a ride? I literally can't find a ride. Begging for a taxi, like trying to wave down a taxi, and it was nighttime. So it's not safe sometimes to go out into the street and try to wave down a random taxi when it's raining, thundering, lightning. I'm a woman all alone in a foreign country, a foreign city. It was dark outside. And I had to go stand out in the middle of the street just to get a ride back to my hotel. And it took me over an hour to get a ride back to my hotel. And that was a horrible experience. I'm just being honest. And it was unsafe. It was dangerous, you know? And so I'm so grateful to be based in a city that at least has Uber or Bolt or InDrive or some type of rideshare services. So as a solo traveling woman, as a solo woman, I don't have to stand in the middle of the street in the rain, in the thunder, in the lightning, looking for a ride home. And this was something that I wasn't even really thinking about or considering, you know, living in Nairobi. But traveling these last few weeks has really made me appreciate the small things, such as Uber, which is not available in many countries throughout Africa, apparently. Even Bolt is not available in some countries. So, yes, I can't wait to get back to Nairobi because it's just the little things that just make your life smooth and convenient that you don't really think about on a daily basis. And I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to be shady. I'm not trying to talk down on other countries, but I'm just keeping it real. Like, I miss Nairobi because some other countries are very hard to navigate, and I was struggling. That's my honest experience. Yeah, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, but the last thing that I really miss about living in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, is the good customer service and just the kind people. I I'm really not trying to like just drag Botswana, but I'm talking about my honest experience. I did encounter multiple rude people in Botswana. In South Africa, I don't think I encountered really any rude people. In Rwanda, I would say people were pretty helpful. In Uganda, people were pretty kind. But on this travel tour throughout the last 5 weeks, I have had multiple encounters with people being rude to me, providing services like at my hotel, you know, getting beauty services, things like that, or just straight up unprofessional. And Nairobi would never, I've never experienced like bad customer service, rude customer service. And I miss, you know, just people having pride and having great customer service. Unfortunately, that hasn't always happened to me these last 5 weeks I've been traveling. So that's the last thing that I really wanted to touch on. But like I said, I am going to be coming home in a couple months. I really miss Kenya. I really miss Nairobi because I didn't know how good I had it. I didn't know that some other countries are really out here down bad. As someone from the diaspora, I do think that Nairobi is the best city to move to, period. Like, there really is no other competition when it comes to safety, cost of living, and quality of life all combined. Kenya is the best choice, period. And I had to find out the hard way traveling to all these other countries and suffering and just trying to survive out here with no electricity, barely no internet, no Uber, no Bolt, no InDrive, no food delivery. Y'all, your girl has been your girl has caught some shaggy. I've had a lot of character development these last few weeks because I would have never imagined. This is kind of the toughest, couple weeks that I've had, probably throughout my whole traveling history. But I'm gonna persevere. I am going to be traveling for a couple more months, but I am really glad that I chose Nairobi to be my home base. And this has just confirmed that I have made the right decision. And, Kenya is my forever home. I'm so appreciative. Sometimes distance makes the heart grow fonder. You have to lose out on some things to realize how good you had it. You had to go without some things to realize how much they made your life so much better. And that's definitely what I've been going through. When I go back to Nairobi, I'm definitely going to have a new perspective. I'm going to be so grateful for the things that I took for granted now that I know that how hard it can be in other countries. And I'm going to complain a lot less. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.